all about 1,000 raving fans and how simple it can be to build a six-figure plus business from 1,000 people. But not just any old people, 1,000 true raving fans. So last week, if you caught me on this page, I was talking all about some homework and getting you to read 1,000 raving fans. So this is not my concept. I think it's a gentleman by the name of Kevin something. Anyways, go and Google it because I'm not going to go through the exact like word by word. However, what I want you to understand today from joining me, so if you're here live, say hello. If you're watching the replay, still say hi. Let me know where you are joining in from. And in case you hear a little bit of clanking in the background, there's painters at my neighbors and they happen to be in our yard. So I apologize. Hello, is it Desiree? I hope I said your name right. Let me know where in the world you are and what it is that you do for your business, because I would love to know. And I would love to know right now, how big is your audience, right? How many people do you currently have on your social media following, in your email list, in your network? Because I think sometimes we fall into this trap of thinking bigger is better, right? I know that that's what I thought when I first started in the online space. I am an introvert and I thought, gosh, I'm going to have tons and tons and tons of people in order to be able to build a successful business. And yet I defied the odds simply because I didn't know any better. I had lots of offline business building experience, having built a $15 million business in 18 months, a traditional brick and mortar inside of my corporate career. My parents were also entrepreneurs and they had a more traditional brick and mortar, because I'm not going to age myself, but back when I was growing up, there was no such thing as the internet. So we are in such an amazing point in time still to this day, because I know that sometimes you stumble upon all these things and you think, gosh, I'm late to the party. Everybody has an online business. Everybody has courses and programs. Not true. We are just getting started. And even right now, at the time of this recording, it's July 2022, things are very precarious in the market. Things are very uncertain depending on where you live in the world. And there's a lot of fear and trepidation about, how can I still do this if I'm trying to build a business, grow and scale a business, or perhaps even start a business, okay? So I want you right now to just pause any disbelief, like just hold aside any preconceived notions and just allow your mind to almost be like a blank slate. Can you do that for me? For the purposes of our conversation today, I want you to just ignore what you believe, ignore what your thoughts are, ignore what you've tried in the past, and just let it all go. Just kind of sit back, relax, as if you're watching a movie, having playing in the background, and just really pay attention to any thoughts, any beliefs, any emotions, any negative self-talk that may be popping up for you right now as you hear me talk about my journey, my experience, and what is possible for you. Okay? So, hello, Daisy. Thanks so much for joining. And if you think that somebody should be watching this right now with us live, because I want this to be interactive as well, I want you to share it, text it to people, do whatever you got to do, because now is the time for people to join. Okay. So let me know what questions that you have around building a business, a freedom-based business that is genuinely, authentically you, but also allows you to do what it is that you love in life. And I know that you love what you do. Obviously, you wouldn't be here, right? I know that maybe you are called to do what you do. There is bigger than just making money. It's bigger than just your business. But at the same time, you have people in your life that you love, including yourself, right? We don't want to be stuck at a desk, at a computer, doing this, or, on the phone all day long without adequately living our life as well, right? So it needs to be, I hate saying the word balance, because balance is kind of a misnomer. So 1,000 raving fans is all it takes. What I want you to think about is, what is the product or service that you sell, right? I'm going to guess that it's more than $100, okay? And if it's not more than $100, I really encourage you to consider What could you provide, a product or a service that you could sell for more than $100? Okay. $100 is kind of the bare minimum that I would suggest for my clients. If you were doing some kind of course or even a product, right? So products are a little bit different because cell phone case, right? Like you're probably not going to be selling hundreds of dollars value of cell phone cases, but you very much could. Maybe it's bedazzled, right? If you're on my email list, which side note, why aren't you on that? Because I'm going to be sharing stories every single day to challenge you to think about money and wealth and what we're doing right now in our businesses in a very different way. Yes, I am promoting an upcoming event, but that's beside the point. The point is that when you connect to people, when you know that what you do is of value, you really don't need a huge, huge list of people. If you sold something for $1,000, or if you sold something for $100 to 1,000 people, that's $100,000. That's six figures. Thank you, Daisy, for helping along. Okay. So if you were able to sell something to 1,000 people, you have a six-figure business. Does the math shock you? Because I think sometimes we are so focused on the weeds of our business, right? Like we're so busy doing the work and being in it that we don't often have time to take a step back and just go, wait, what is it that I need to be doing? And who is it that I need to be doing it with? And how should I be doing this? And we follow along sometimes blindly because we have faith and trust and belief that the people who have paved the path ahead of us they know better, right? They're gurus, they're experts. But what I want you to consider is that sometimes the experts, myself included, I just walked through a client with this yesterday and I said, there are some things that you do that are so innate that you don't even think about anymore because they're automatic, that they're essential to the journey that got you here. And what got you here won't get you there, right? Because we're constantly learning and evolving and growing. We're going to talk about this at Rich and Ready. But at the same time, if you didn't take those first initial steps, you would never have gotten to where you are now. So everything matters. Everything counts. Nothing is too small in this journey called life and business. So if you had 1,000 people, and imagine, right? Because I think sometimes we go, oh, I don't have enough people. I need more people. I fell into that trap. I had a mentor who was extroverted. Well, she still is. She didn't just change overnight. She's still extroverted. I'm not. Very outgoing. I don't consider myself to be outgoing. I push myself to be kind of outgoing at times. I would rather be a wallflower, to be perfectly frank. I love observing, but I'm insanely curious about people, which is why oftentimes I can be perceived as outgoing or as an extrovert, because my natural curiosity drives my connection, my desire to connect with the people that are closest to me and the ones that I want to help. So she had a massive audience, right? Massive audience compared to me. And compared to others, it was still relatively small. But that being said, I somehow in my mind got misguided notion. Now, at this time, I already had achieved six figures in my business, but I thought that the grass was greener on the other side. Okay. I thought the grass was greener on the other side. And I thought she had something that I didn't, which was a massive audience, right? Big connections, all these people. And I thought, well, surely in order for me to continue to grow and scale, I need to have more people. I need to have more people. Not true. Not true at all, right? And so that's why I said at the very beginning, and if you joined us late, hello, welcome. Pause your disbelief, because I know sometimes we get caught up in these stories, which are lies straight from hell that don't apply to you, right? They don't apply to you. And there is a way to do business in an authentic, genuine way by being yourself, by truly building meaningful relationships. And I'm not talking about toxic stuff. I'm not talking about narcissistic or codependent, right? I'm talking about healthy relationships built off of genuine trust and regard and consideration for one another as professionals in the work that you do. Because if you're a business owner, you are a professional, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to be stuffy and wear, suits and ties or have your hair coiffed every day and a face full of makeup. I mean, take it or leave it. This is how I am, right? But I'm also not the person that's going to show up on a live or a video with my bathrobe on. So you do you, because your authentic self will attract your authentic people, your perfect people that you want to have in your audience, the ones that you want to serve, your 1,000 raving fans. And so I share this story because that desire to have something that I thought was better, simply because I thought I needed to have more and more and more people in order to continue to grow and scale my business, was not true. Not true at all, right? And so when I stopped, and I'm going to tell you, I just stopped this recently. Okay. I just stopped this recently. So this was a kind of come to Jesus moment for me, where I had to give myself one of these slaps in the face. And I went, what are you doing? I know business. I grew up with my parents being entrepreneurs and traditional brick and mortar store owners my entire life. And that's how I learned math, was by handling money. So to me, math is money and money is math. And it's very, very simple and it's very, very basic. There's no meaning behind it other than like, you give me $10 and it costs you $2.35, I'm going to have to give you $7.65 back. Right? That's how I learned math. It was really quick because I would have to be able to, handle the cash and get the line of people out, because back in those days, there wasn't a lot of cash or credit cards or debit cards. In fact, this was well before debit cards were even really a thing. Really date myself here. So if you could create an opportunity to cultivate community, and community means different things. When I first started, and I shared this a little bit last week, so if you're interested, go back and listen to that video, all about value-based investing and why your values and what you are interested in, right? Our core values as human beings and your core values as a business, because they may not be the same, why they attract the true person that you're supposed to be helping, your perfect person. And one person at a time is really all it takes. I want us to imagine if I was to suddenly give you how many people that you're connected to right now through your social media platforms, through your network, through your Rolodex, through your email list, through your contacts, through heck, how many people you got even on your phone, right? That's a heck of a lot of people. Could you imagine throwing all those folks inside your house and having to host them? The introvert in me just wants to run and go screaming for the hills. But why is it that we want more and more and more people, and we think that that is required? I'm here to tell you that none of that is true. So if you had 1,000 people in your home right now, chances are you would be like, wow, how am I supposed to help all these people to navigate where to go to the bathroom, where to put their shoes, like direct them towards the kitchen, get them drinks and food and entertain them and connect with them. It's a lot, right? And if you're introverted like me, chances are you're just thinking like, OMG, Susan. What? Here's the thing. If you can create an opportunity for 1,000 raving fans, and if you haven't read that as part of your homework, go and do that later on today, okay? I want you to consider that if you had 1,000 people right now, that you could make a successful business by selling at minimum a $100 product or service. Now, if you are an expert at what you do and you provide services, whether it's through a course, a program, your own service that you provide to people, then you should and could be charging well above $100. Yes, even now, because I guarantee you, if you're in one of these three industries, and we'll dissect this a little bit more at Rich and Ready, if you haven't grabbed your ticket, what are you waiting for, right? It's July 22nd, 22. 7/22/22. Took me a minute there. You can make more money even now, because these are this is the trifecta of like wealth, okay, for business industries: making money, relationships, or having sex. Sorry, not sorry, but that's the reality of it, right? And health. Oh, and your health. Okay, money, relationships, health. If you look at everything that you purchase, chances are the ones that are successful and the ones that you purchase more frequently than not falls into one of these three industries. Okay. So, Keita, great question. I am going to put that on the screen and we're going to address that in just a minute here. So, if you help people make money, or save time, you're in the make money bucket. If you help people with their relationships, whether it's with themselves or with others, you're in the relationship bucket, aka like have more sex. Okay. Now, side note, I have had a client who is a sex therapist, right? So usually if you're in that healer or therapist kind of modality, you might fall into that relationship. Any communication or leadership experts, you would fall into relationship, possibly also in the make money bucket. The last one, which I think actually is the biggest, even though oftentimes my clients come to me and say, I don't help people make money, so I can't make more money, Susan. It's a lie. Is the health bucket. Now, with the health bucket, you need to make sure that you are not positioning yourself as optional, like vitamins, like something that they could take or leave, especially right now. You have to be seen as a life and death sort of opportunity. You have to be seen as valuable as the food that they put in their mouth so that they don't starve, right? That's why anything related to the diet, fitness, food industry, like that's why the keto industry just boomed. So if you fall into any one of these three buckets, I guarantee you that whatever you're trying to sell, you could be charging more, because these three areas is where the bulk of wealth in the world today is made. Okay. And I'd be hard pressed to find an industry that doesn't fit into one of these three. Okay. I know us crafters, creatives, you're wondering like which part of these three. It's usually in the relationship bucket. So depending on your positioning, we'll talk about this a little bit more at Rich and Ready, but your relationship with yourself, self-development, is what I would consider to be in the relationship bucket. Okay. Just so that you're aware, because self-development, just self-development alone, hello, Tony Robbins, I'm looking at you, is a massive industry and is actually what has led the online surge around programs and courses and or online courses and programs. Okay. So Keita says, how do you know for sure you're in this price range? Do you start lower if you're a beginner? No, that is a total misnomer. So I'm going to share with you my journey, okay? Because I want you to think about, where are you in your journey of business and life? Because it all counts. Remember what I said at the very beginning, that everything that you've done has gotten you to this point, and everything that you will do from this point onwards will get you to the next point. So most of my clients, they want to be millionaires, okay? Nope. Feel like I'm freezing a little bit. Let me grab water. Getting so excited. I've been talking super fast and I'm losing I'm losing my ability to speak. So everything that you have done up to this point has gotten you here. And that means, I'm going to guess that you're probably older than 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, even 25. That's a whole lot of living, right? Typically, my clients are in the second act of their life. That was me. I had built a successful corporate career, right? Actually, it was like kind of three lives because I had a whole life with my family. I worked in the family business, got really exposed to what it was to price and to sell and to serve customers. And then I stumbled into corporate and ended up in a sales career. And that was where I thought I was going to die and retire, to be frank, until a health crisis took me out. So I had to restart my life when I turned 40. So if right now you're watching this and you're thinking it's too late for me, sister, brother, I don't know where you are in the world, but it's never too late. It's not over until the fat lady sings. And so I understand because when I turned 40, I thought, oh my gosh, life is over. Like I was bedridden. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of my children. And I had no idea what I was going to do because my identity was so wrapped up in what I had done before. So when I was stripped away of that, I didn't know where to begin. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know who Susan was. I thought of myself as a corporate employee, as a sales leader, as a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter. But all of that went away because I didn't know how to take care of myself anymore. So I share all this because I want you to know that building a six-figure business is not predicated upon anything other than you having the belief in yourself and what it is that you do and having the skills to start where you are. And it does not require time and it doesn't require boatloads of experience. Although I will guess that if you're here right now, you're like me, you have more than ample experience. Most of my clients are overqualified for what it is that they want to do. And yet they have imposter syndrome because imposter syndrome does not strike the hearts and the minds of those who are overqualified. That's the irony. Imposter syndrome usually affects those of us who have more than enough qualifications because we know better, because now we understand what we don't know and we question ourselves because we're wondering, do I deserve to be here? There's an unworthiness, an undeservingness that is because we are high achievers and we want to keep moving up and up and up, right? So I want you to think right now, thank you, Daisy. How much have you had to go through in order to do what you do? For me, it's my entire life. And I still, when I started my business, I didn't think I was qualified to teach sales. I certainly didn't think of myself as an expert. And my dear client and friend, I don't know if she's on here live, Lee Min, I always give credit where credit is due because she changed my life. Now, I've had the grace and the privilege of being able to have the wealth to invest in myself and to invest in others who've helped me on this journey. And I want you to know, I got to plant this. If you are a believer, and even if you're not, if you want to learn using biblical principles to understand how to build true wealth for yourself and for the kingdom of God, you're going to join me on Clubhouse today. I'm trying to figure out the time, but I'm going to teach on the concept. It's a biblical concept, but everybody in the world uses it, not just people who follow the Bible, the concept of sowing and reaping and why this is so powerful and how it can help you and what it actually means. Because I think sometimes we have it backwards. Okay. So I'm just going to plant that seed. Go and find me on Clubhouse. So if you add up all the experiences, and this can be your homework today, I want you to sit down and write it out. What have you gone through in your life? What are all the tears, the heartaches, the joys, the fulfillment, the lessons, the schooling, the people, the places, the things you've gone through that have actually helped you to do what you do with your clients today? That helped you to generate your frameworks, your methodology, your processes today. Because you think that it all of a sudden just dropped in your lap. And sometimes that can happen, right? We're inspired, we get a download, we get direction, and we're led and called, and boom, we go. But I guarantee you that some of the things that you needed to be able to put into place, that you would not be ready to receive all of that information or even to use that information if all of the things in your life hadn't happened before. So stop discrediting every little thing that you've done because it wasn't big enough. Those small things, momentum is created by moments. Okay? Momentum is created by moments. And when we discount the moments, we lose momentum. We lose momentum. So do not get stuck in the lies and the misunderstanding that you need to learn one more thing. Been there, done that, got the shirt. Actually, I have a whole collection, right? Because when you love to learn, guess what happens? You are constantly trying to learn more, learn more, learn more. You're never going to learn enough for it to be probably right or perfect. You have to be able to have confidence that you have enough right now to go. And every day you have enough to go and do another day. So how dare you sit and try to perfect something that you haven't even expressed out loud, and you're robbing yourself, but also the people that you're here to serve, of an opportunity to get help where they are. Because remember what I said to you? As we continue to evolve and keep moving forward, we get better and better. And we miss out on the very things that we have done and struggled with, right? That actually could help somebody else. And when we get to a point where we no longer think about it, it's harder for us to teach it. How do I know? Because I've been there, right? And then our people don't get the best results because they get stuck. So I'm going to tell you right now that as imperfect as it feels right now, you need to just start where you are and start teaching somebody right behind you. Because I guarantee you that you know more than just 2 or 3 steps ahead. But if you don't teach what that 2 or 3 steps ahead looks like, then by the time you're 10 steps ahead, you're going to forget what the first and second step are. And unless you're teaching those people who are right behind you, the ones that are further behind, it's going to be really hard for you to pull your arm out and drag them. Like you're going to drag them, right? We want to give them a leg up. And so I'm sharing this with you because I have been doing what you've been doing, probably just sitting and thinking and thinking and thinking, learning and learning and learning. Learning is not true learning unless you implement and you execute. That's why so many people are book smart, but they're not street smart. The street smart, if I was in a fight right now, I would take the street smart person over the book smart person. I would take somebody who has done it in the trenches, right? Rather than somebody who just learned about how to load a gun. You know what I mean? Like I want somebody who's at the driving range, like the gun range, every day, practicing, shooting. Now I'm in Canada, so I don't know who that analogy is for. But I just want you to know that with 1,000 raving fans, you can charge what you want and still live a good life and not be a scoundrel, a sleaze, or taking advantage of people. Charging more money does not mean that you are a bad person. In fact, I'm doing an experiment right now, right? With this whole rich and ready and this pricing strategy. One of my clients asked me, why are you doing this? Because the value of the ticket is actually $3,000 to $5,000, right? In order to hire me for a day, you would not be able to do so for less than a 5-figure investment. Okay. Because I have generated millions, billions of dollars in my career. In fact, and that's not just like over a long, long period of time, although it is. I personally have helped create and train people who can sell millions of dollars in 1 year. In 1 year. Okay. Sales is a skill. Yes, do they have big programs or big ticket offers that they were selling? Absolutely. But I've also helped people to sell stuff that was free that transferred into other products and services, right? So yes, the price of your offer influences how fast and quickly you can grow and scale. But the price, especially as a creator, as a visionary, as the person who drives your business, and you are not your business, We'll talk about that more in Rich and Ready, right? Why that is a total complete lie that gets people stuck. It got me stuck. That you should be charging as much as you can, because without it, you actually are doing yourself a disservice. You're going to be having to work so much harder in order to get the same kind of results. So let's break this down. If you have 1,000 raving fans and you charge $100 per person, right? You charge $100 per person. You're going to create a six-figure business. If you were to charge, I'm going to bring up the calculator. Let's just do some math, right? Math is not scary. If you charged $1,000 for those 1,000 people, which if you were doing like a 3-month coaching program, at the very least, you could charge $1,000. If you're in one of those 3 wealth buckets, easily. It depends on your ability to convey the value and believe in the value that you're providing. If you're not sold on you, nobody else will be. They're not going to buy from you. So this whole experiment that I'm doing with my ticket prices around Rich and Ready is so that I can prove a point to you. I've sold millions of dollars worth of stuff. I know what it's like to have conversations with people and hear no. I've had 40 conversations pretty much every single week for almost 20 years. 40 a week at very bare minimum. When I had my teams, each one of my team members would be conversing, selling, communicating with a minimum of 40 people every single week, right? Even with a small team of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 salespeople, you do the math. That's a lot of people. So I share this not because I'm just pulling things out of the sky and I'm making stuff up. It's because I have real world experience to be able to tell you this. And the online space would have you believe different things, but I'm telling you right now, they're all lies. And you can be the one that doesn't fit the mold. I certainly was. I don't look like everybody else. I don't talk like everybody else. I don't act like everybody else. And I don't teach like everybody else. That's because I'm me. I may not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, right? So if we do the math, $1,000 for 1,000 raving fans, I hope this comes out straight. $1 million. That's a $1 million business. Okay. Now, that's as simple as I can make it. We're going to go into a 7-figure framework during my event because I want to show you. I just showed you the math, right? How simple and easy it is. But I'm going to help you understand and believe it for yourself. That's what we're going to do on July 22nd. All this being said, I want you to know that when I first started, I did the same thing that you're probably doing right now. I discounted and I discredited all of the experience that I had because I didn't think of myself as an expert, right? Your expertise has to have context. It needs to be put in a contextualized situation. That means that your expertise and the value of that expertise depends on who you're selling to. It depends on the situation and the person that you're involved with. This is why it's so important that you know who you're selling to, who you're speaking to. And oftentimes our imposter syndrome would have us playing in the sandbox when we actually need to be in the boardroom. I'm going to say that again. Our imposter syndrome would have us playing in the sandbox instead of playing at the boardroom. So if you're ready to be rich and ready, you need to come to this event. That was not the whole purpose of this, but I just feel led. Somebody needs to hear this right now. A 6-figure business can be built with ease, with simplicity. If you stop focusing on these big, massive vanity numbers of, I need to have these huge followers, that's about your ego. That was what it was about for me. I had already achieved the 6-figure success in 6 months in my online business. And side note, I knew nothing about Facebook, but I built a business on Facebook. I didn't even have a personal profile. So everything that I did, I still to this day, there's certain features of Facebook I know nothing about, nor do I care to learn. because I don't need to know it. I didn't know how to post on Facebook. Like that's how basic I'm talking about, right? So there are no excuses right now for you to not be able to do what you do. Because when people tell me, "Oh no, Susan, you don't understand. Like I don't have an audience, a following. I'm starting from scratch." Listen, you might think that you're starting from scratch, but you're not. No, not at all of my social media that I was using before, half of them I can't even log into. And that's the God's honest truth. Like I can't even log into because I don't have access to those emails anymore. I was doing it all for personal, right? And now I'm an early adopter. So was I using technology? Absolutely. But using that for my own personal gain is totally different than using it for business purposes. So when I say I was -0, I had to crawl my way up to 0 in the first place. I'm I'm for real, for real. You know what I mean? So if you have anybody in your audience right now, because I did not intend to create a business, so I didn't even tell anybody. I didn't even know what I was going to tell them. So I kind of stumbled into this whole thing with a plan and a purpose and a dream and a vision, but I was scared to tell people. And in fact, that was probably my saving grace because I'm going to tell you right now, if I had told my family, my extended family, my closest friends, my colleagues, if I had shared with anybody kind of what it was happening, they would have laughed at me because what I created is like mind blowing. It's bonkers. It's bonkers that somebody who spent a whole career in corporate as an introverted minority woman who never looked like anybody else in a male dominated field that would go through a complete breakdown, a health crisis that put my life on the line and then rebuild from scratch in a completely different industry, in a completely different way than anything that I had done before. And to do it working less than 20 hours a week because I couldn't work more. I love working, but I was put in a situation, God placed me in a point where I could not even work more than 20 hours, even if I wanted to. The pain was so bad that I couldn't sit for long periods of time, an hour at most. That's like I had to track it because I had a timer go off because if I sat for too long, I'd be wrecked the next day. Right? I couldn't even type very well because this whole portion of my body was frozen and was wrapped in pain. So, how do you build an online based business that is completely predicated upon using technology, right? With faith, with a lot of belief that I can do anything, right? Because I've proven to myself, my entire life has been a journey of I can do anything. And when I desired to connect with people, I wanted to help them, but really and truly, it was a gift to help me. It was a gift to help me understand the value that I had in the world because I was at a point where I felt like I was worthless, that everything that I had done was washed away, wiped clean, and I didn't have anything left for me to stand on except for me and my faith and my belief that there was a greater purpose for why I was going through that moment. And that was everything. So creating a six-figure business, was it easy? Yes and no. It was very simple, right? It was still investment opportunity of your life. So if you're not equipped with the skills, why are you running away from investing in yourself more? Because that's really what it is. You're investing in yourself to learn and give yourself opportunities to get the skill sets, to get the support, to get the help. If you're not doing that, that's because of ego. That's because of pride, right? And believing the lies that business needs to be more complicated than they are. So building a $15 million business in 18 months was actually very simple. Was it easy? Hell no. Hell no. I worked like a dog and a cat and a bird and an emu. Like the whole zoo was with me. I had to right? In order to create that level of success with a very small but mighty team. And although I built that inside of a corporate environment, that was my baby. That was my business that I built. That was my blood, sweat, and tears and my sleepless nights that got us through. So I want you to know that right now, if you focus on 1,000 raving fans and creating those 1,000 raving fans, right? That you are going to be able to create a 6-figure, a 7-figure, even an 8-figure business and more just by doing that. Would it shock you to know? I love all the laughs. Would it shock you to know that that $15 million business had 432 customers, 432 clients? That's all it took. Now, you can do the math, right? What's the average client value? It's going to be well more than what some of you are selling in your current business. But if you can sell something for $7, $700, or $1,000, $100,000, you can sell something for $1 million. The skill is the same. The skill is the same. The effort is the same. So what's the difference? You are the difference. Your ability to believe that what you are selling is worth the value that you are asking for. Why does somebody buy a $10,000 house? Because you can still buy a $10,000 house on auction. I just learned that the other day. I was like, what? Where in the world is this? I've been going about things totally wrong. So you can buy a house for $10,000. You can buy a car for $10,000. You can also buy a house for a lot more than $10,000. Like, I don't even know what the most expensive house is. Maybe 100 million, certainly in the double digit millions for sure, right? 58 million, 68 million. You can also buy a car that is almost $1 million, right? I think right now a Rolls-Royce Phantom is still probably the most expensive vehicle that you can purchase because it's custom everything. I think it's $500,000. So what's the difference? The difference is in who you are selling that program or product or service and the buyer who decides to say yes. And I'm going to tell you right now, the buyer who buys at a higher level is discerning. However, they often have more experience in buying and they will say yes faster. So if nothing else from today, what I want you to take away is the faster that you can train and trust yourself to make decisions like this without second guessing, without overthinking, without having to research a ton. And I get it. Depending on your personality type, you may need to do certain things in order to appease your own ability to feel safe and secure and confident in your abilities to make decisions. But if you're going into analysis paralysis because now you veered to the point of no return, stop doing that, right? Most of my folks, I make decisions like this. And the reason for that is because money loves speed. Money loves action. Faith without works is dead. So it says even in the Bible that you can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't take action, if you don't actually work that faith, it's meaningless. It's worth zero, right? And that's why so many people sit with a hope and a belief and a prayer and nothing to show for it. That is not me. That is not my life. Everything that I have done, even this whole process with what I'm doing for my upcoming event, Rich and Ready, it is a walk out of faith. Every single thing that I'm doing, it is in complete abandonment of what I would think to be doing and to have faith and trust in the process that I'm being led through, right? That's the beauty of how I operate. I mix spirituality and strategy and I combine the two. And is it scary? Hell yes. But is it fulfilling? Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. It is the only reason why I can say confidently that I'm here with you today and that I even was able to create a six-figure business when everybody else would have said to me otherwise that it was not possible. Says who? Not my God. And I am a living, breathing testimony of what is possible when you do things in an extraordinary way and that you are trusting and guiding that there is a reason why you are being led to do certain things, even when you don't have the money in the bank, even when you have to do something really scary, even when you have to push yourself to do something that is uncomfortable as all heck, like going live. Like talking about things that you would never imagine talking about. Okay. So when I first started, I discounted. Don't discount. You attract the wrong people. Now, I'm not talking about charging at different price points. I've done it. I mean, you right now, I think right now, still, depending on when you're watching this recording, you can still get a ticket for Rich and Ready as pay what you want. I've never done this before. I don't know if I will ever do it again. This is an experiment. And again, this is not just for me because I know what will happen. This is for me to have tangible proof because some of you don't believe without seeing. And I'm going to have physical proof to tell you what's going to happen, the difference between buyers who purchase at this level, at that level, at this level, at this level. Because I've sold at all levels in my business up to a six-figure contract. So I went from six figures in 6 months to, I think the following year, the 2 years after, I was able to achieve six figures in 6 weeks in the year. And then I sold a contract that was worth six figures. So basically had a six-figure day. Now, before you freak out and you think, well, I can't do that because I don't have the skills. Remember, it's a skill. You can learn it. If you want to learn and you say that you are a learner and you're not learning these skills, shame on you because you actually aren't a learner. Okay. And yes, this is some real talk. This is some harsh talk because I can't have you go through the rest of the year suffering, choosing to suffer, and creating the results that you are seeing right now because that's what you are doing. You are the creator of your world. And if you are seeing things that you don't desire, then you have to shift this so that you can shift what's around you, right? And I'm telling you, because I healed from all of that pain and suffering simply by being walked out in grace and doing the things that nobody else wanted to do. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. But if you don't want it, then somebody else will take it, like me. Now, I will say, because as I went through this, I'm still human. I'm not like a superhuman. Okay. Every time that I hit that six figure, I started to back away because guess what happens every time you up level? Every time you hit a new portion of your growth, it's scary, right? And people and your beliefs and your old ways of doing things and being, and the people that are closest to you, they're going to try and drag you down. They're going to make you feel like you're too big for your britches. They're going to make you feel like, who are you to do this? And you're going to feel bad and you're going to feel guilty. And if you don't recognize it, you're going to shrink back and you're not going to keep pushing through. And I share this because that was me. That was me. And you would think, gosh, if you were able to do this with regular people, right? I'm not talking about signing huge corporate clients. That's what I did in my corporate career. It's not really what I'm called to at this point in time. However, I'm open to it, right? I've worked with bigger businesses going from 7 to 8 figures in this iteration of my business and my career. But when we stop short, we don't allow ourselves to experience the full gamut of what is possible, right? And that's what I've done for myself. And I'm sharing this because you're going to encounter this, that as you break through to whatever it is. So, right, it could be the first 4 figures in your business, and then the first 5 figures, and the first 6 figures, and then multi 6 figures, and then 7 figures, and then 8 figures and beyond, right? As you start to accumulate your wealth, because I've seen far too many clients and peers around me that are constantly going and going and going because they don't have any of that money that they've worked hard for. At this point in my life, I am very grateful that I could walk away from everything. I don't want to, but if I had to, I could. And I could survive. I could live off of the wealth that I have accumulated for a minimum of 10 plus years. A minimum. Could you say that right now? And I'm going to guess that for most, the answer is no, right? And that's okay, because you have to get to where you are and move to where you want to be. But if you're going to constantly be working and working and working without anything to show for it on the back end, because you don't know how to do that, again, that's a skill, right? So making money is different than managing it, spending it, and keeping it. How do I know? 20 years in finance. And actually, my very first business was when I was 7 years old, and I loaned my allowance money to my sisters. So I have been gifted with the skill of growing and making money, and more importantly, with keeping money, because through my career, most of my career, I did not crack 6 figures to become a millionaire. Somebody needs to hear this. And I want you to know that in your business, you and me, friend, we have unlimited opportunity. There is a limitless scope of where we can take our career, of where we can impact the people around us. But I would say right now that instead of trying to help millions of people, which will come, why don't we focus on the 1, the 10, the 100, or the 1,000? Why don't we really pour into those people, right? I want my circle to be exclusive and tight, where I pour into you and you pour into me. And this is not just about money. This is about my energy. This is about my grace. This is about my gift. And this is about my ability to create and cultivate and shape more leaders, because I am a leader. I was born into it, right? The eldest of 3. Wait, Sadie, stop it. You are a leader. Maybe you're just a leader of yourself right now. But if you're coming in now, you are called to lead the people that you're here to serve. So stop hiding and stop thinking that you need to have tons and tons of people to be a leader. If you have one person behind you, you are already a leader. Do you remember the childhood game Follow the Leader? That's what I'm talking about. So 1,000 Raving fans is all it takes to create a 6, multiple 6, even a 7-figure business. Because remember, if you can create a program or a service, or heck, even a product, right, for $1,000, hello, this is how Apple has become the biggest company in the globe. Trillions of dollars worth of value. Now, I'm not going to argue with you if you're Team Android, okay? I still love you. But that's all they've done. And they've served the heck out of their people. And because of that, they have raving fans. They have people who will line up for days in order to get the newest product, right? And it doesn't even matter how much this phone costs. They kind of go in blind. What would your life and business look like if you could rely on even 10 raving fans, 100 raving fans, that every time you put something out, you knew that they would be eager and ready to buy? I have moved away from this concept because, as I shared with you, I believed in the lies. I believed that once I hit that 6-figure and multiple 6-figure mark, that in order for me to continue to grow and scale, that I would need to be able to have more and more and more people. And while sales is about quality and quantity, you need to have certain numbers. I'm going to tell you that if you sell extraordinarily well, which I do, and I own it, that you can defy the odds, that you can break the mold, that the rules don't apply to you and how you do business. And when you work with somebody, whether it's me or anybody else, that understands how to marry these two concepts together to fully support you as the unique, brilliant human that you are, that God created you to be, that you then get to go faster, farther, with way more support. And you do it in a way that's completely aligned to your vision, your values, and your mission. And when we do this, because this is the mission that I'm on, and I'm experimenting on myself, right? So I'm going to encourage you, and this is why I'm coming on YouTube. Basically, I'm going to do this every day right now to share what's happening a little bit behind the scenes, but also to give you some insight as to what I'm learning, because I'm learning something every day. Otherwise, I'd be dying, right? And I am a learner. So I am implementing and executing something every day. And I'm going to be sharing something from either my past or my present or my future that is going to help, hopefully, you come along the journey with me. Do I have it all figured out yet? No, not at all. I don't expect to, because wouldn't life be boring if I had everything already figured out and known? And that's the trap of the ego. So your 1,000 raving fans is waiting for you to start talking to them. Your 1,000 raving fans comes one human at a time. Make sense? So I know that sometimes we're waiting for the millions, and whether it's 1,000,000 people or $1,000,000, I've shared this over and over again. You cannot become a millionaire if you don't know what to do with your pennies. Your character is formed by what you do behind the scenes. It is what you do when nobody else is looking. It's the words and the promises that you keep to yourself. And it is the way that you fix mistakes. I made a mistake already today because my client was like, you have this. And I had told her I was being led. I was being led through spirit, right? Divinely to make a shift. And I already had a plan. I had already written out emails. And then it was like, nope, last minute, make this change. So we did. But I forgot one piece. And it was in the email when you join Rich and Ready. So if you got that first email before an hour ago today, then I need to make it right, because there are some bonuses that are not part of the event because we're shifting how we're communicating. We're shifting the focus, because every single day I'm still being led to what it is that I need to create. And part of it is going to be shaped by my 1,000 raving fans, by the people who say yes to coming and joining the event. So how could I have it all formed when I don't even know who's going to be in the room yet, right? And I can do that because I'm an expert at what I do. I can do that because I have faith and trust that whatever people are coming to get, I'm going to deliver exactly what they need to hear in that moment. And I have the expertise to be able to plan and prepare even up to the last minute, because I don't need a lot of time. I already have spent years, decades preparing to get to this point. And as a professional of my craft, every day I practice this so that I can get better and better and better to help my 1,000 raving fans. And I'm not worrying about everybody else. They're not my assignment. They're not my problem. They're not even anything that I'm going to entertain, because my goal and my focus is back to why I started my business. It's about cultivating deep relationships with the people that matter the most to me. The ones that have put up their hands to say, I want your help, Susan, because I know that how you do business is how I want to do business. I know that your ability to make things simple and straightforward, while I have to still do the work, and that's hard, that you're going to make it much easier and simpler for me to break through the barriers of my success, that you're going to help me to stop getting in my own way so that I stop stopping myself, right? And that at the end of the day, that the amount of wealth that you have shows me that it's possible, and that I want to know how to do that. I want to be around somebody who thinks like you think, that does what you do, not just in your business, but in how you handle yourself as a human being that is called to do the work that you're called to do, so that I can be called to do the work that I do in an even bigger way. Make sense? So there's some free resources. If you watch to the very end, God bless you, because we've been on just about an hour now. I will be on live every day. They may or may not be scheduled. So if you want to hear more, I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe, ring the bell to make sure that you're going to get notifications, and follow my channel, because I'm going here every single day until we go live for Rich and Ready. Okay. I may go live beyond that. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see for direction on that, because I'm going to be spirit led. Okay. So today, your homework, I want you to reach out to somebody who could be part of your 1,000 raving fans, not to sell them, right? Not to be sleazy, but to create a genuine relationship, to say hello, right? In today's world, how many of us are going around feeling so disconnected from one another, from ourselves, that we don't even appreciate our life anymore, right? We need to appreciate when bad things don't happen. We need to appreciate when good things happen even more, even more. So if you heard me earlier, I am going to do a teaching on Clubhouse all about sowing and reaping. It's a biblical principle of wealth that other people in the world are using. I am a believer. I am 100% faith-based, but I am not churchy. I'm probably the furthest thing from the church lady that you'll get. And I did not grow up in religion, although I did grow up Catholic. So technically it is religion, but I didn't like it. But I love God, and I want to share his wisdom, not mine, but his wisdom with more people. Because if the law of attraction, people, which is sowing and reaping, and it is a universal law that's based out of the Bible. This whole concept that I'm telling you right now about your 1,000 raving fans, how are you going to attract them? It's going to be sowing and reaping. It's going to be your energy and attracting your real people. If you don't understand how sowing and reaping works, then you might be doing it backwards. You might be doing it for the wrong intentions. And selling is everything to do with your energy, your intention, and how you're coming about with people. That's why we feel sleazy before somebody even says anything. So your homework to reach out to somebody is to do so with a clear mind and a clean heart, with pure intentions, to find your raving fan, somebody who believes in the same things as you. If you missed last week, go and have that playing in the background while you're pondering some of what I talked about today. You're probably going to need to listen to this one again a couple of times as well, right? For it to really sink in, because there was so much juicy stuff. Do me a favor, because somehow all of our comments that we did on live will disappear when this goes into the rebroadcast mode. I want you on whatever social media platform that is of your choice, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, your own YouTube channel, Twitter, TikTok. I want you, because learners are action takers, right? And when we take action, we get results. I want you to put your faith into action right now. I want you to take one thing that you learned, and I want you to just talk about it. What's one takeaway that you got from today? And I want you to share that message, your message, through me, right? Tag me, because I want to shout you out, because I love action takers and I want to reward you. But more importantly, you're going to reward yourself, because you're going to prove to yourself that you have what it takes and that you can do hard things. And that if anything, what you learn is important enough for you to implement. So if you've spent an hour with me today, do not let that hour go to waste, right? Actually do something with it. So I want you to go and shout something out. What's one thing that you learned today that just blew your mind, or that you're going to implement, because accountability is a powerful thing. And when we write or say something out loud, we are like 70% more likely to actually accomplish it, right? So if you're a doer, if you're a learner, but more importantly, if you actually say that you have faith and belief that what you do is important, then here is where the rubber hits the road. Take action, right? Share the message and allow people to see you and what I imparted in you or activated in you or started in you or given you that kick in the butt, whatever it is that you needed today. And that's what I'm going to ask for. I'm going to ask that you take action from one thing and that you put it on whatever social media, tag me at Susan McVeigh, right? And then come back and comment on this video and say done. And if you want to share your social media profile, then put it below so that other people can see you. So we'll do this after the broadcast is finished. So in like 3 seconds, okay? So we'll count down and then you're going to go do your homework. You're going to come back and you're going to comment to make sure that other people can see you and I can give you a shout out and give you a high five for taking action, Okay? So let me just see. I am going to, because there were questions, and I just want to make sure that I address any questions that are here. Desiree says, okay, email list is only 99. Only. Stop saying only. If you had 99 people in your house, would you not be like, praise God that I got 99 people coming in my house and I could actually host them, right? Go and send an email to every single one of those people as if they are the most important person in your world, because they are, right? If you have an email list of less than 1,000 people, if you have less than 1,000 followers on any of your social media platforms, you can go and personally attend to them. That's the beauty of having 1,000 raving fans. Let's see. Hello, Janie. Janie, give you a shout out because Janie was the one that asked last week, and that's what inspired this topic today. Okay, I'm seeing. So I'm just going through to see if we have any other questions. Kita, did I answer your question? How to know for sure if you're in this price range, and do you start lower if you're a beginner, right? You don't need to start lower if you're a beginner. When I first started, in my mind, I wanted to charge $5,000 and I discounted to $3,000. Actually, I discounted to $1,500 and I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell it even from the street corner. It was far easier for me to sell the three, well, not even the three, the 5, the 10, the 15, the $25,000 offers, and even the 6-figure offer rather than the lower price one. So there will be a point where you have alignment. Okay. There will be a point where you have alignment with your price. I can't tell you where that is because it's going to depend on what you're ready to receive. Okay, so Kita is asking, do you feel that you need paper credentials to command business? No, not at all. So I fell into a finance career. My degree is in English language and geography. So for those of you that aren't familiar, English is actually split into like English lit, which is reading, books, stories, and then English language, which is the formal structure. It's like the grammar of English, right? Hanging participles, your punctuation, all that kind of stuff. Listen, I don't know what I was thinking, except I love to write, right? And a teacher told me when I was going through school that I was not creative. She gave us a creative writing class and I didn't do very well. Now, I was always the top of the class because I'm a learner and I'm a high achiever. So why do anything if you're not going to do it well? That's kind of my mantra. And that stuck with me. And so when I got into college, I heard her voice in the back of my mind saying, you're not a good writer. You're not creative enough to write stories. And yet here's the irony. I make a living now writing stories. I make a living sharing my voice and telling people things that have happened in my life. And people love my stories. I've gotten so many messages and emails from the ones that really, really tap into my truth, not the surface level ones, not the really like scientific ones. So when I went into my finance career, I had imposter syndrome. Remember, my parents were business owners, and I got to a point where I didn't even realize what I had learned through my parents just doing business. Kids learn so much through osmosis. If you're a parent, never discredit what your kids are learning by the example that you provide. So really, like as a business owner, you're not only teaching your clients, but you're teaching your kids. And what a beautiful gift that is, right? So I went back to school and I got into even more debt, graduated with student loan debt. You're going to hear those stories as we go through on my email list. So don't delay, jump on the list. I went back to get my MBA and I did the first year, $25,000 paid for out of pocket. I didn't need it for my job, but I desired it because I felt like I did not have the skills in order to answer people's questions. One client asked me what my degree was in finance when I was helping them. They're like, "Oh, so did you go to school for this?" Because he had two little kids. And I said, actually, no. And that made me feel a certain way. And so I decided to get my degree. One client out of hundreds, thousands of people. So you do not need paper, credentials. Your life, your experience is a testimonial, right? Did I go to school to learn how to create wealth? No, but I did it for people well before I had my own. I have helped clients make millions, multiple millions, and billions, far exceeding the level that I have ever had. But does that mean that I can't do it because I haven't done it first? No, not at all, right? And I think sometimes people get stuck because they're like, well, I haven't ever done it for anybody before. If I allowed that to stop me from my business, I create a $50 million business for somebody else. I didn't understand how valuable my skill set was while I was there because I did it in a very unique way. I did it the way that my parents taught me. I would never have learned that. Even inside of my corporate career, I certainly did not. I never learned that in a textbook because I certainly did not, right? I didn't finish my MBA because I realized the ludicrousness of what I was trying to do. I was learning on books, like on paper, what I already had experienced in real life helping clients, hundreds of thousands of clients at this point. And I was just like, what am I doing? This is insane. I don't need a degree to tell me that I know what I'm doing. So I stopped. I stopped because I didn't want to learn it anymore. Right? So give yourself credit for what you're doing. And that's part of what we can discuss at Rich and Ready, right? Rich and Ready is really more about your mindset, who you are and where you are called to be, rather than all of the nitty gritty details. The nitty gritty details are necessary and they're good. But at the end of the day, we'll talk about this on Clubhouse. Okay. I'll give you a little precursor. You can't sow seeds if you don't dig up the dirt. I am a digger upper. I make you uncomfortable. I get rid of the gunk. I take out the weeds. It's unsexy. I know that. My name in corporate was the fixer. I would have to go in and clean up other locations that needed to be set right because I could do it. And that meant that the true fruit, the true growth, right? I never got access to because I was on to the next one. But man, did those locations flourish. Because when you get rid of all the gunk, the seeds that are planted, the seeds sometimes are already there, they can actually grow. But when you're choked out by the weeds, nothing could get down in there. Make sense? Okay. Let me see. I'm just going through. Daisy says, how much have you had to go through in life? Yes, right? That's something that I had shared. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your comments, your questions. If you have a suggestion for next week for the regular Wednesday, then let me know. Every single day I will be going live, and it is going to be whatever I feel led to. Okay. So I can't guarantee what the topic will be, but it will be similar to what I'm sharing today and then last week as well. So I'm just quickly going through here and seeing if there's any other questions that I have missed. If I've missed your question, feel free to drop it below. I'm just going to scroll in the interest of time. Okay. I think I can't see any other comments beyond Rita's with alignment. Okay, so I think I covered up all the questions. If there is anything else, feel free to send it down below. Homework, you're going to go post, share, do something on social media to execute on what you learned today. One thing, and then come back and you're going to comment so that other people can see you too, okay, with that social media link so that we can go and check you out. With that, I wish you all the best, and we will talk to you again next week, same time. Well, I don't know what time. Look for the scheduled broadcast, but certainly the same place. We will talk to you soon, and I hope to see you maybe later today over on Clubhouse. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.